Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Thursday, and welcome to our video about Yule ritual ideas. I'm going to be tossing out a couple of ideas for solitaries, for those celebrating together as a family, and ideas that would be suitable for a broader community. These are just ideas. You are by no means limited to these ideas. I've tried to make these ideas as low cost as what is possible because none of us are made of money these days. And this is more so a starting point for brainstorming. And of course, any idea I've tossed out here, it can absolutely be individualized to suit you. So let us begin. First, for solitaries, as so many of us are practicing on our own. First idea is to hold an all-night vigil the night before the solstice and then to greet the dawn. Alternatively, if you're like me, just set the alarm early enough so you can get up in time to see the sunrise. I doubt very much at my age if I stayed up all night to greet the dawn, if there would be very much of my brain left over by the time dawn arrived. So know yourself, know your circumstances. Don't exhaust yourself for no good purpose. But if this is something you are able to do, then it's an idea. But at any rate, know whether you've been up all night or you get up in time to greet that dawn, consciously acknowledging this weakest point in the sun's cycle, and to know that from this point forward, the light is going to get stronger and stronger until the summer solstice. This is about embracing hope. The warmth is going to return. And this helps sustain us through the cold because we still do have a lot of cold weather to get through, at least most of us in the Northern Hemisphere. But still, we are walking back into the light. We're walking back into the warmth. And this is especially important to be reminded of for those who suffer from seasonal depression. And this is also an opportunity for us to express gratitude to the god and to the goddess for their efforts to make that wheel turn once again because it enables our lives to go on. Second idea is to make an offering to nature. Food is a bit scarce at this time of year, so looking after the birds who do stay in your community throughout the winter is a graceful gesture. There's just something about the colder months. It brings a sense that we should look out for each other a bit more, and that can include making sure that our feathered friends have what they need in order to thrive. Third idea is to make a strong citrus tea representing the reborn sun, and orange scones with a lemon glaze, also representing the sun, and then place them on your altar as an offering to the god and to the goddess. And of course, with the citrus and the colors, it does represent, the sun. It's not at its strongest point, but it is present once more. And that can be part of a very meaningful and personal ritual for you. Now, this brings me to ideas that are more suited for a family circle. The first idea is to make the Yule feast a really proper occasion, and not just in the sense of, setting the table and making sure everything looks nice, but get everyone who's old enough to cook and to bake to pitch in and explain to them, especially the kids, why you've chosen the foods that you've chosen to cook for this Sabbat. And this process, with them knowing what's going on and by participating in the cooking and the baking themselves, it will help infuse the energy of all the participating family members into the meal, and that heightens the magical components in and of itself, and that, of course, makes the blessings that you've put into the meal expand that much more further. Second idea is if you have a fire pit or you have a place to have a bonfire to just light things up. And then as you do so, you can write notes that welcome back the sun or honor the goddess for her efforts to have that sun reborn, express Yuletide wishes, ask for help getting through the rest of the winter. Again, very important if you struggle with seasonal depression. And then toss those notes into that roaring fire. Allow the flames to carry the energy of the notes into the other world and into the realm of the gods. Third idea is about crafting. Whether it's about making decorations for the Yule tree or constructing a gingerbread house and decorating that, or even making the pagan version of a nativity scene, because of course with rebirth of the god, this would be an opportunity to say, hey, we are also celebrating the rebirth of this child of hope into the world. This is an ideal time to unleash that creative energy and to just go wild with it if you can. And also, it's pretty satisfying to look around the house and see that you didn't just arrange the decor that you bought, but your creativity and the work that you put into it actually made this environment happen. And of course, this is another thing that you can get maybe your spouse and hopefully your kids involved as well to really focus on. It's not necessarily about going out and buying that bright new shiny thing. It's about taking things that you have or using components and making something of it. And the idea of getting a return out of something that you've made is also a pretty good thing to teach children as well, just in general, not just for the Sabbats. Now for community ideas. Now I realize that not every community is particularly pagan friendly, and there's not always a strong concentration of pagans to do these things, but these are ideas that I want us to take with us into the future of, we can build ourselves and our community up to this point where we can be a bit more present. Now, my first idea has to do with holding public formal rituals. Now, unlike other rituals that are intensely personal and dealing with very private matters, when it comes to Yule and marking the solstice, that is a seasonal change that affects us all and has relevance to everyone. And that's worth celebrating, especially during times when everyone needs an extra dose of hope, as I would argue that our society does need that right now. And a public Yule ritual, it can convey that sense of hope. And this not only presents paganism in a good light, it also provides a bit of a public service because people see that there's others out there who are reaching towards that light, literally and figuratively, and people who are wanting to make things better. A second idea has to do with having a proper festival or a fair. And I'm thinking, booths and games and storytelling, music, singing, food, drink, Sinterklaas and Frau Hall roaming around handing out candy to children. Now, there are some communities that already have Christmas fairs and Christmas parades. And one thing that we might be able to do is in some communities maybe have, just get some pagan groups folded into that. Have someone take part of the parade, only have their display have a more pagan twist to it. Or if there's a Christmas fair, well, to set up a booth and to talk about, more ancient roots of Yule. Alternatively, if possible, our broader pagan community could coordinate to actually begin putting on Yule and winter solstice fairs. There have been a lot of cultures throughout the ages that had celebrations at this time of year. It would be an opportunity to put a spotlight on all the variety and the texture and heritage of pagan spirituality and to bring it forward in a way that isn't threatening to non-pagans, a way we can really show off the beauty and the meaning of it, and just it's to bring a touch of fun to it because this should be a fun time. My last idea would be to choose one of the stories that are associated with Yule and then put on a play. The Christians have their yearly Christmas pageant. Why shouldn't we show off our own stories? This would be a way of sharing history, of showing how celebrations have evolved through the centuries, and I think that would be a really upbuilding thing to do. And children of pagan parents, they can see the stories that their parents have been teaching them and just watch them on the stage and then have all those good memories associated with it. And they can see that the spiritual culture they're being raised in is a really good and beautiful thing. And this makes it more likely that these children will, once they're old enough to make their own spiritual choices, that they will lean towards paganism. And in turn, they will pass down, our stories and our traditions to their own children in due course. And thus, that helps sustain paganism as being a living, breathing religion. So that's just a few of my ideas. If you have other ideas, I would love to hear all about them at Blackbird's Brew. You can join our Discord server through the link in the description box below. But for now, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.